Nice to see you guys. It's been a while. I haven't been able to make any videos due to some family things, but here I am in this undisclosed location with a camera, so I figured I'd make a video. Why not? I don't know how much longer I'll be in this dungeon, but this will do it for now. So I want to thank you guys for your patience. But this video isn't about me and potentially being held hostage. This is about free agency. Free agency is basically over. The Jaguars had the most cap space in the NFL, but that didn't stop them from balling on a budget. I think all of us fans were on the edge of our seat just waiting for that huge signing. And then the first signing happened, and I was just like,
who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
But after realizing we were getting an avocado for Christmas, I finally realized what was going on. So let's get into the video. There are a few things Urban Meyer alluded to before free agency started. He wanted to fix up our secondary. He wanted to be fed grapes. He wanted to add to the wide receiver room. He wanted speed, but not like 4-3 speed per se. He wanted players who played fast, played to the ball, played aggressive, made fast decisions, but apparently also wanted 4-3 speed with the signing of Jamal Agnew. I have no idea how much he'll actually contribute to the wide receiver room, seeing that he was a former cornerback, transitioned to a wide receiver, but he's definitely going to be a return specialist. Throughout his career, he has 6 returns for touchdowns, and in his rookie year, he earned All-Pro nods as a returner. To then continue with special teams, we went on to sign Rudy Ford, who plays safety, but I don't think he's going to be competing for a starting spot. I think he's going to make his impact on special teams, most likely as a gunner. But could this mean that Andrew Wingard wouldn't be on the team next year? I don't know, but that might piss a lot of people off. Well, at least one guy. Shout out to my man Luke. One thing's for certain is that our new regime definitely hated our defensive line, and they made that a priority. Signing Roy Robertson Harris, Hyde Ward, re-signing Dwayne Smoot, and also bringing back Tyson Alualu, just so he can be the only Jaguar to wear all 3 uniforms in the last decade. And we also traded for Malcolm Brown. And then a few moments later, the Dolphins signed Malcolm Brown. Things got weird. Roy Robertson Harris is coming from Chicago, where he was a starter last year, got injured, but he's most likely going to be taking R.B. Jones' spot. Malcolm Brown looks like to be a solid 3-4 nose tackle. Ward played for Joe Cullen, our current defensive coordinator, as a rotational guy for the Baltimore Ravens, so I'm assuming he's going to come in and compete with Devon Hamilton. And Alualu is a good veteran presence who is going to, be a rotational guy for us, so I guess we'll see how they all fit with our new hybrid 3-4 defense, whatever the hell it's going to be. Moving to the back end, the Jaguars finally make their splash signing Shaquille Griffin. No relation to Peter. Rumor is that the Seahawks really wanted to keep Griffin, but Urban Meyer came with that RKO, offering up a little bit more money, bringing him back to his hometown of Florida, and he couldn't resist. In 2019, Griffin was a Pro Bowler. In 2020, he dealt with some injuries, but he still had 3 interceptions on the season. Sadly, that was more than any Jags corner had last year. So now we have C.J. Henderson, Shaquille Griffin, and then we re-signed Trey Herndon and Sidney Jones. So now we finally have some depth at the corner spot, so we'll see how that goes next year. We then signed Rayshawn Jenkins, strong safety from the Chargers, who should be competing for that starting spot next year. All the high-priced guys like Justin Simmons got franchise tag, so the best available is probably John Johnson El Trace, but unfortunately he went to the Browns. So I don't know if the Jags made an offer for him, but we got Rayshawn Jenkins, who in the last 2 years filling in for Derwin James, he's had 138 tackles and 5 interceptions. Jags definitely went heavy on the defensive side of the ball for free agency. They did pick up some offensive players, some wide receivers, including Marvin Jones and Philip Dorsett. Jones wasn't the Lions receiver everybody had in mind, but I still think this is a good pickup. He's a veteran presence. He's definitely going to be the oldest wide receiver in the room at 31 years old. The rest of our wide receivers are still going to frat parties and playing Warzone. Jones doesn't have time for that shit. He's here for 2 things: to breed cats and score some tutties. Last season, Jones had 76 catches, 978 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Philip Dorsett to me is a head scratcher. Last year, he didn't play at all due to injury. He's fast and can definitely stretch the field, but I feel like this is something we could have done in the draft. I don't know. He definitely has potential to be a deep threat, but he's never really put it together in his career, so we'll see how he plays for us next year. Jaguars added to the running back room. I didn't think they'd do this in free agency. It was a little bit of a surprise to me, but they brought back Carlos Hyde. I'm surprised Carlos Hyde even wanted to be back considering the shit show that took place when he was here the first time. I thought the Jaguars would add a speed back to complement James Robinson, which maybe they still do in the draft, but they brought in Hyde, who has a similar play style to James Robinson, but he does provide depth and gives James Robinson a break, and plus Plus, I think this was a culture move for Urban Meyer, bringing a guy he's worked with before that understands the ropes. In case shit hits the fan, Carlos Hyde's got his back, you know? One position that was left with a question mark was the tight end position. The Jaguars re-signed Oshag Hennessy, and then they signed Chris Manhertz from the Carolina Panthers, who's primarily a blocking tight end. We traded away Josh Oliver to the Ravens, so I'm assuming we're going to address this need in the draft. Or maybe a trade for Zach Ertz. Manhertz and Ertz. 1-2 punch. We also re-signed Tyler Shatley. Not that big of a deal, but last name you definitely want to keep around. So that was basically all the moves that the Jaguars made, at least major moves. They cut some players here and there that I didn't even know were on the team, but apparently they were. So what does this mean for the Jaguars? It does mean that they're being patient. I know a lot of us want to throw money at the biggest guys, but the Jaguars are taking this slow and not spending all their money in 1 year, considering we just went 1-15. Next year, we're probably not going to compete. I think it was smart to not throw all their money away at all these top guys. I mean, maybe they tried to and they didn't want to come over, and then that's kind of embarrassing. But this is year one of the rebuild, so they're taking it slow and being patient. Plus, everyone who is probably worth those massive contracts, like Leonard Williams and Allen Robinson, they all got franchise tagged. It seemed like everyone was getting franchise tagged, so there's no way to even get those guys. But I think this also means that the Jaguars really like their draft board. By not throwing money at all these top guys, that leads me to believe that they're confident in the guys they're going to be picking in the draft, and they didn't feel the need to spend that much money in free agency, at least this year. Let me know what you guys think of these free agent moves. What was your favorite free agent move? I think for me, it was Shaquille Griffin. It was kind of a low-risk, high-reward situation. We have C.J. Henderson to groom. Shaquille Griffin has been inconsistent, but he's definitely proven he can be a solid corner. And I think the worst move was Philip Dorsett. I think his skill set, you could be found in the draft at a cheaper rate. Not that he was that expensive, but we'll see how he does this year. I liked him at the U, so maybe he puts it together. Comment down below what you thought of free agency. Overall, what do you think of their moves? Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you like these videos, and I'll see you next video.